Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the cover paper to the cover board. And so to do this, I'm going to go ahead and take some PBA, which is just a pH neutral, like acid-free glue. And I'm going to squirt it kind of, spiraling out from the center and just kind of make sure that there is kind of a line of glue around. And then I like to take a damp brush. So a sponge brush works really well, or just like an older paintbrush, one that you don't care if it gets a little gluey. And then I like to just spread the glue around. I do this over scrap paper. You'll see I have a piece of newsprint out. And so this makes sure that every part of the cover will get glued. And then I'm going to put the paper on. And just want to make sure that that's about centered. There. Push it down. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over. And then something that helps here is if you take like a old gift card or something smooth, like a sturdy, stiff piece of mat board would work too. I typically keep like an old card in my toolbox that I can use just to make sure that there's no air bubbles anywhere. All right, and then I'm going to let that dry while I do the other one. Okay, for the next step, I'm going to go ahead and cut an obtuse angle out of each of the corners here to create tabs to glue around the board. When you're cutting the obtuse angles, you want to make sure that you cut about 1/8 of an inch away from the actual corner of the board. You want to leave a little bit of extra paper there just to make sure that the paper will cover the corner of the board. So the point of your angle, your obtuse angle, should be about 1/8 of an inch away from the corner of that board. Okay, next I'm going to glue the tabs. So to glue the tabs, I'm just going to take my glue bottle and I'm just going to put a line of glue along each tab one at a time. I'm going to take my brush, spread out that glue on the tab, and then I will use the card again to smooth it out and to make sure that it all gets glued down. Okay, again, you want to make sure that you're working fast. I like to swipe the card kind of along the edge of the cover and then back over through the tab to make sure that it's glued nice and flush all the way along. You want to work fast so that way the glue doesn't dry before it adheres to the cover surface. I worked my way around and glued the tabs one after the other. You could also glue the short tabs and then glue the long tabs over top to have a more uniform look. You just want to make sure that you work fast and that you're spreading the glue evenly, that you're using the card to tuck the sides in, and then always go and fix the corners as well. Once you're done, move on to the next cover and make sure that you do all 4 tabs on both covers before you move on to the next step. Okay, so my end sheets are going to be smaller than the cover. You can make them like just smaller than the cover, or in my case, I had bigger tabs that wrapped around my cover. So I'm actually just gonna measure this space inside of here. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure my end sheets to be slightly bigger than that space. So this is a little bit wider. This side was a little angled when I cut it. So I'm gonna measure this, and then I'm gonna measure the height. And I'm just going to add about 1/2 inch to each of them. Okay, so this is 7, so I'm going to cut 7.5 by 10, because this is 9.5. So 7.5 by 10. Okay, so now I'm ready to glue the end sheets. So for gluing the end sheets, I'm basically going to do the same process that I did before with putting the covers on by squirting a string of glue, spreading it out, and brushing it, and then putting the paper on. When I'm done with everything, I have a big stack of books here to put the covers underneath so that way they are under pressure to dry flat. So just to make you aware, I have scrap paper, this newsprint underneath my work surface to keep it nice and clean and from getting gluey. Okay, so let's go ahead and start.